And we are back. Thank you once again to Michael Harris. If you guys want to support the show and maybe allow us to not have 30-minute interviews because we're poor and can't afford Zoom Prime, you want to help us out, help us gather enough money to basically get Zoom Prime, head over to d-fourten.com, sign up for the Patreon link. It's $1 a month. That $1 a month goes a long way. Not only does it help the podcast, it helps the YouTube channel, etc., etc. And but yeah, Michael's a very interesting cat, and he has some great TikToks. You guys definitely need to go out and follow him. You can find him at the Bro Kitchen Guy, the BRO Kitchen Guy. Follow him on TikTok. He's got some interesting stuff. Not all of it's political. Like I said, he shows some food videos. He works in a CBD shop. He's got, if you're a military vet, check out his podcast. Him and his co-host are both military vets. It's the Hooch Podcast, and that is over on, I listen to it on Google Podcast and as well as Spotify. Now, one of the things we didn't get to talk too much about with my trip regarding to Tampa is I got to drive a BMW SUV.
What?
Yeah, apparently there's a new thing out. We all know what Airbnb is, right?
Yeah, actually, that's a bane of our existence out here. But
there's apparently another service where instead of renting out your home, you're renting out your car.
That makes sense. I've been hearing that they've been making inroads on this for a couple of years now.
Well, what's some very smart and I don't know what phrase I want to use, endeavoring cats or intelligent cats are doing is they're actually going out and buying high-end used cars, and they're primarily using them for the service. And I guess in the case of like this BMW, people are making like 10 grand a year, so they're buying used BMWs for like 20 grand. 30 grand, and they're renting them out, making 10 grand a year. So they're making money. But anyhow, so Brad came down here instead of going to an elite or a budget. He went to this service and they rented a BMW SUV.
I wonder how much of that is the fact that I hear car rental companies hardly have any cars now, and Hertz had cars and they're renting them, and this is on a national thing, $200 to $300 a day.
Yeah. Speaking of TikToks, I watched a TikTok of a guy who runs a used car lot, and his lot was gone. He said that Amazon, what's their Carvana? Is Amazon Carvana?
I don't believe so.
I thought they were originally. Anyhow, but these internet-based car lots are buying up all the used cars at all the used car auctions because right now people have COVID checks and income tax are coming in. And people are spending money. And so he's basically saying inventory is not out there right now. So he's closing down. He's going to go on vacation for 2 months. And then after all the income tax checks go away and the COVID money slows down, Carvana and the like, they're going to have all this inventory they can't move. They're going to resell them at auction. It's going to flood the market. And the prices of used cars will come down. And this guy can turn around and sell some cars.
Well, our company built one of those vending machines.
Oh, yeah?
Which I jokingly said, I wonder how you tilt that when the car gets hung up like a bag of chips. I'm waiting for Family Guy to do that skit. It's got to be in the works right now.
Like the Leaning Tower of Pisa?
Just going up, Peter shaking it or trying to do something.
I'm not sure exactly which one it is. I'm looking online. I think it's the X5, but it was like a 2017 model.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if we talked about this in the past, but, you know, you and I have talked about how they've done research and they find it. You can have all the technology you want in cars. People want the analog dial on the radio, right?
Mm-hmm.
Touchscreen all you want, but when it comes to volume and tuning, those are the two knobs that they want analog so they can adjust it to just
Actually,
right.
I'm going to add to that. I also want my HVAC, my air and my heat on knobs too. And like Subaru's newer screens, they've gotten the Outback's 11 inches, but everything is through the screen.
Well, and that's kind of what I'm getting to is how much analog do you like and how much digital? Where is that happy point? Because this BMW, at least the 2017 BMW X5, was all digital. The turn signal had no click.
Oh, no. That's a no-go for this guy.
And not only did it not have the click, but since there was no click, the mechanism wasn't there. So once you change lanes, you're responsible for clicking it back and turning the turn signal off, which drove me nuts. Nice car. It was a nice ride. I'll be honest with you, it drove a lot like my Volkswagen. Yeah.
I'm wondering if the technology may already be there when it detects that you're on a road, especially with all the cameras and stuff now. And when you change lanes, it automatically turns the signal on and turns it off.
It probably will. Once again, this was a 2017 model, so it's a few years old. The navigation, to type in the letters, you actually had to use a scroller, like a wheel on the console. It was very, very hard to use, not in-depth at all. The stick shift, it was digital. It wasn't an analog transmission, so it's not like you hit the button in reverse. You had to hit like the top button, tap it twice to get to the gear you wanted. When you wanted to put in park, you had to hit a button on top. It was all done digitally. And there were just some little things about it. And once again, the radio, there was no analog tuning or volume. It was all push button. Very nice car.
That's getting you closer and closer to getting used to a driverless car.
It was a very nice car, but just those little things, the no clicking on the turn signal, the fact that the navigation to input the names was next to impossible to use. Basically, I wanted to film a video because Brad's like, okay, I need to get to Raymond James Stadium. He's fighting. And I just put up my Google Maps, and I set my cell phone right on the screen of the car radio.
Oh, I'm sure it had Android Auto. You could have plugged that right in.
It may have, but once again, this is a 2017 model, and I know because my Volkswagen, the Android Auto and the Apple Auto, they don't take, at least back then, because in my 2018, they take a proprietary plug that is almost like a serial plug on one end and USB on the other. So it's not like you can just plug your standard USB in there. This one may have been different, but like in the Volkswagen, it takes a proprietary plug. You have to go on Amazon and order for like $5.
Oh, dear God.
But yeah, it was a nice car. It's just those little things. I want the analog feeling. I want the press the button, pull it in reverse, put it in neutral, whatever, put it in park. I need the physical stop and click on my turn signals, and I need the volume control and the tuning. Other than that, you can pretty much digitize everything else. Well, like
I want analog gauges, or at least, even if it's digital, it's got to still have the sweep of analog.
Yep.
I have to have that, even though, because like in the Tacoma and even in the Forester, we can put the digital gauge in the middle. Sometimes I have it on, but most of the times I don't. I like the analog gauges. To me, the sweep helps you with I don't know, just the feeling of driving, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we don't want to take all of the history and feeling of driving in automotive away. We want to keep some of it, right?
Absolutely.
You ready for the Netflix binge movie of the week?
Let's do it.
We have a network throughout Asia and Western Europe.
Which is how you're able to offer such attractive prices.
See, this is what he does. He robs, kills.
What's wrong with us?
Forges victims' passports. If this killer is not found, people are in danger.
Asia's most notorious killer. He's the man known as the Serpent.
It's the 8-part mini docuseries originally created for the BBC. It is called The Serpent. According to Wikipedia, The Serpent is a crime drama serial developed by Mammoth Screen and commissioned by the BBC. The 8-part limited series is co-produced between BBC One and Netflix. It's based on the crimes of serial killer Charles Sabara. His mom was Vietnamese, his dad was like Pakistani, so the name, it's Sobhraj. Forgive me for killing that. But he murdered, listen to this time span. He murdered young tourists between the years of 1975 up to 2000.
Oh, dear God, he had a run.
The series stars Tahar Regime in the leading role. Check this out. The series was shot on location in Thailand until COVID-19 pandemic, which halted production for 5 months from March 2020. Filming was completed in England during August 2020. It premiered on the BBC on New Year's Day 2021. All 8 episodes were immediately made available on BBC iPlayer. The show began streaming on Netflix in April. I just finished it tonight. I don't want to give too much away, but basically, going back to, I was born in 73, 74. Remember how like the hippies got really big into Buddha, Tibet, and
free Tibet, man. Free
and
Tibet.
Hiking around the world. They would stay at youth hostels and they're just going hiking. Well, this guy basically, he fancied himself as, well, actually, he was just a complete douchebag and criminal. He liked to steal jewels. He liked to pretend he was a jewel connoisseur and dealer. But basically, his whole shtick was, he would kind of manipulate people to work with him. And they would poison these hippies who were traveling around, kill them, take their traveler's checks, take their passports, put their photos on them, cash their traveler's checks, use their money, travel to different parts of the world, and buy jewels and then sell them. And this is how they finance their livelihood.
Wow, it's pretty elaborate.
Yeah, and the fact that it went up until 2003 is when the story pretty much came to an end, and the whole thing was basically cracked, if you will, by a Dutch embassy secretary, because this stuff was going on for years, and then some Dutch tourists went missing and then were found burnt up.
So the unassuming secretary,
Male secretary. Now it's not secretary as in answering phones, but the political secretary. He was basically the assistant to the ambassador of the Dutch embassy in Bangkok, Thailand. And him and his wife kind of put this thing together. And but it's an insane, if your wife likes true crime and you like good shows, the fact that it's all shot on scene, they did some really cool shit where they would get some of the era footage of like Bangkok, Thailand, of like 8mm, and they would flick it through scene to scene, and then they would shoot the modern day stuff with the old cars, but put the same filter on it. And so you're watching original, shots from Thailand, and then it would just go widescreen, and you're right in that today's episode. And it's a very good show. The co-host in it, who plays the wife, is good to look at. Great acting, and the fact that they're all Europeans, it's people you've never seen before, but it's a great show, good acting. Each episode's about an hour long. There's only 8 episodes, but go check out The Serpent, the TV series on Netflix. That is this week's Netflix binge-worthy TV show. A few weeks ago on YouTube, TikTok, and on this show, we put out a call for anybody who wants free decals to simply send us a self-addressed envelope to our P.O. Box, which is Digital 410, 2710 Del Prado Boulevard South, Unit 2, Box 209, Cape Coral, Florida, 33907. Very cool. Happy to announce we got our first self-addressed envelope, which came with a postcard. You see who's on that postcard?
Yeah, I believe that's out of Minnesota.
That is correct. This is from MN George 77 from Minnesota. Now, he didn't put an indicator whether he got it from this podcast, from TikTok or YouTube, but we don't care. Either way, I just printed up your stickers, George. We're going to send you vinyl cut Digital 410 sticker. We're going to send you a vinyl cut What's in Your Head podcast sticker, a vinyl cut What's the Scuttlebutt sticker, and die cut full color white and blue Digital 410 sticker like you see over here in the corner, as well as a green and white military stenciled What's the Scuttlebutt podcast sticker. That's a pretty hell of a good care package, for all you have to do is write out an envelope, put a stamp on it, put another envelope inside of it with a stamp on it, so I can send you some free cool stuff. So if you guys want some free cool stuff, all you got to do is send us an email, and you can send us the letter, or you can email us at info@d-410.com, and we will give you the address once again. So thank you, George. And I literally just cut your stickers before the show. I got to peel them and apply the heading on them and all that. Gordon, are you ready for the news?
Let's do.
Or do you have anything else you want to cover before we get into the news?
Well, I thought we were going to talk about chicken sandwiches.
Oh yes, chicken sandwiches. I'm glad. And this is one of your other roles. You need to keep me on track. Like last week, I had a lot of stuff I want to talk about, but we kind of got into it pretty good. But the chicken sandwiches are evergreen. But there is a war in the
ship that got blocked the Suez Canal. But
well, there apparently is a chicken sandwich war that one would argue 2 years ago, with the body count and the fact that people are getting shot over them, that Popeye's Chicken won the chicken sandwich war. But you believe, or at least for a long time, has held Wendy's in the highest regard of the chicken sandwich war.
Yes.
As of now, where would you put your money down on the like if someone came to you and said, "Hey, today's spicy chicken sandwich day here at the office. Where is your preferred vendor? Where do you go to get your spicy chicken sandwich?"
You're going to shit a brick. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Jack in the Box.
Jack in the Crack? They're like the Taco Bell of hamburger joints.
Well, and what wins it for me is the fact that I could get jalapeno poppers
on a stick,
not on a stick, in a box.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, But I will. That being said, I actually am starting to come around to the Chick-fil-A spicy chicken sandwich. Although I'm not supposed to be eating any of this shit, and I've fallen off my fucking right way of eating. Vinny would be horrified.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to circle back around.
Who are you, the press secretary for Joe Biden now? Circle back, girl?
Circle back. See, you can't even say circle back anymore. It's been ruined.
Speaking of Wendy's, that chick looks a lot like the Wendy's girl, huh? Oh, I'm sorry. That's anti-ginger. We shouldn't go there.
Wendy's is the latest chain to upgrade its chicken sandwich, October 2020.
Bullshit. And we'll get to that momentarily.
Go ahead.
So my leading contender, for a while, I hopped on the Popeyes chicken sandwich bandwagon. But there's a new leader in the clubhouse. And once again, this isn't a spicy chicken, but we can go down the chicken realm because the only difference is the sauce. Or in the case of Wendy's, what they inject into it. My leader in the clubhouse right now is the Kentucky Fried Chicken spicy chicken sandwich.
Well, you know,
and don't sleep on KFC French fries.
If you're a restaurant with chicken in your name, then you should be near the top of the leaderboard.
What's in Your Head podcast fun fact? Both hosts of the What's in Your Head podcast fun fact, we both worked at Wendy's.
Yes, we did. Has Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich gotten smaller?
Well, that's what I'm getting to. Gordon and I have both worked at Wendy's. How many years did you put in under the red bonnet?
Maybe a year.
I put in 3. I worked there all through basically my last 3 years of high school. It got to the point that after high school, when I left and was building ambulances, when I went through Wendy's drive-thru on lunch, they were trying to get me to come back. You know, it was 2 years later because like the management was still there.
Mm-hmm.
But I say all that to say this. I have dropped many a bags of chicken in my day. And no, ladies and gentlemen, you don't put them, at least at Wendy's, they don't just put them in the French fry dipper like they do at Pt.2, which, by the way, for a company called Pretty Darn Quick, the Pt.2 at Raymond James Stadium was in the weeds. How do you get in the weeds when you only serve one thing? 4-piece, 5-piece chicken sandwich with or without tomato and lettuce? They got in the weeds, but that's neither here nor there. It was a nightmare. To the point where like they're fighting amongst each other about orders not getting right. Once again, how you get the orders wrong. You take, oh, well, he ordered a 5-piece. Okay, well, throw another piece of fucking chicken in there or take the tomato and lettuce off. But anyhow, as someone who has dropped a lot of chicken, and once again at Wendy's, you don't just throw them in the French fryer. They actually have a pressure cooker, much like KFC. That's one thing. If you watch the Food That Built America or whatever, they show how Colonel Sanders like went through like 38 different pressure cookers before he finally got it right. Well, Wendy's has a pressure cooker too. They go back, you put the chicken in a basket, you dump it, you shut the hatch, you lock it like you're in a submarine about to get on the Davy Jones locker, and then cook it for like 5 minutes.
Right.
Back then, the chicken...
It's called a Henny Penny.
That was the manufacturer brand. But back then, those were some big, fat-ass chicken breasts. They had the bone removed, but they looked like almost like a heart. You know what I mean? They weren't flat. They were they raised on the side where the bone was.
They're approaching the size of a Sam's Club boneless chicken sandwich.
And
or
then
boneless chicken that you get in a pack.
And then obviously they would be what KFC would consider extra crispy. They were big, they were helping, and when you bit into them right after they came out of the fryer, the hot juices would come out and burn every fucking surface of your mouth. And that's the way it was, and we liked it.
That's the way we preferred it.
I went to Wendy's the other day and got a spicy chicken sandwich. And I am not shitting you. I looked at it because... But once again, in our day, that bun would be all askew because the chicken was not level. It's fatter on one side. The bun would be kind of askew. And I'm looking at this thing, and the bun's almost making contact with the top and the bottom. I pull the top off, and I swear to God, Gordon, the chicken was damn near round. It was perfectly level, and it was very, very, very reminiscent of the McChicken that you get from McDonald's. You know, that pressed out, scraped off the floor, made into a patty chicken sandwich that you get at McDonald's?
Yeah, so what was the texture like when you bit in? Was it extruded or did it pull apart like a real breast?
Giant chicken nugget.
That's no good.
And that's my point. The quality, since Davis passed away, and I'm sure they'll say, well, with the prices of inflation, in order to keep the chicken affordable, this is not a boneless deep fried chicken breast. This ain't
on the 99-cent only menu.
This is a giant fucking chicken nugget that was scraped off the floor, put through an extruder, squeezed together with some aggregate like you do with concrete, probably a lot of flour in there to hold it together, maybe some cornmeal, and slapped on a bun. If you want a chicken sandwich that is reminiscent of the original chicken sandwich from Wendy's, go to KFC or Popeye's Chicken, because that's what they're selling you. They're selling you a whole chicken breast that will pull apart, and you can see layers of ply in it as if it was a piece of plywood.
The muscles. Yes.
Yes.
The muscle fibers.
Yes, you'll see the multi-layers. The modern day Wendy's chicken sandwich is garbage and very disappointing. But how disappointing is it to me when I go there and this happens? It's as a reminder, Don, this is why you just cook at home, fella. Cook at home.
100%. Every time I eat at a restaurant, I'm like regretting it.
Yep. Cook at home. And I do that every once in a while. Like once every 2 months I'll get French fries, for especially, or actually once every 6 months I'll go to McDonald's reluctantly. And I'll get food and I'll like, yeah, this is why I quit going to McDonald's. And then I won't go for 6 months. And then I'll get like a piece of hair that's, what's that phrase they use for memory? When you think about childhood or think about the past, the phrase, that word, oh, God, I can't believe it froze up. Anyhow.
Alzheimer's.
No. Close. I think it starts with an A. Anyhow, when you get that hair of wanting to relive or have feelings towards the past and you want that McDonald's, it's not the McDonald's we had. It's not even the same McDonald's it was 10 years ago. It's rubbish.
And it is rubbish. Now, before I quit eating McDonald's, and I don't know if they're doing it in your neck of the country, but all
you mean the shaft of the country, because we are the penis of the United States. I am down.
If you're the penis, is Texas the balls?
Yes, but I'm not in the shaft. I'm the ring around the mushroom, because that's right around where we're at. We're like the ring on the mushroom tip.
You're where the foreskin
used to be. Yeah.
Yeah. Anywho,
that's where we are. Especially Chris Quentin, if he's still on here, because he lives right off Marco, and he's like the hair dangling off of the ring where the foreskin used to be. Yeah.
You totally wrecked my train of thought.
Choo-choo.
It happens. Pick it up.
That's okay. I'm still trying to think of the word that.
Pick it up.
Yeah. Back on the scene, crispy and clean.
Oh dear God! But yeah, it's gone.
Chicken sandwiches, bad food. McDonald's, stop going.
Oh yes, McDonald's. Out here, they're doing all quarter pounders are made to order, fresh off the grill.
Ooh.
I tell you what, though, the difference is phenomenal. You don't have some weird half warmed over hockey puck. They would always put you out in the parking stall, and that worked out. But
you know, the last good quality hamburger McDonald's put out, which was about 10 years ago. Do you remember?
No.
The Angus Deluxe.
Oh, that's back when Angus burgers were effing everywhere.
But it was fresh. It was not the half soy nonsense they kick off as real beef nowadays. That was a quality hamburger.
Beef. Yep.
Well, Wendy's is 100% dairy cow. There's a fun fact for you guys. Wendy's is retired dairy cows.
Hey, they're still getting use out of them.
Yep.
So.
Oh, no, I'm all for it, but I miss the Angus Deluxe. That was a quality hamburger. It actually had the purple onions on it instead of the yellow onions. Fresh lettuce, tomato, the sesame seed bun. The hamburger itself was almost a quarter-inch thick.
It was a McDLT done right, not separated.
It was a damn good sandwich, and then they got rid of it because it wasn't cost-efficient.
Anyway,
chicken sandwiches.
The message of this story is Wendy's. You're going to have to go back to Wendy's now and try it again. Maybe you just got a one-off deal.
Well, see, I'm trying to think of a way to do a YouTube video where it's fair. Obviously, I'd need to be able to compare all sandwiches, but it's almost like I would need to have like 5 drivers all go out to the destinations, get the sandwiches at once, and bring them back so they all have the same life on them. Otherwise, it's not.
Go to Uber Eats or DoorDash.
Yeah, because otherwise, even them, they're not going to deliver in the same time.
Timing's going to be off, right?
Yeah, but see, that's my point. It wouldn't be fair if you go to Wendy's first and then drive, and then by the time you do it, the last one you bought is going to be freshest, and the first one you bought is going to be cold. So it's almost like you're going to have them come to you in order to do a valid. But I guess if you're not doing a taste test or fresh test, you're simply comparing the size and the thickness of the chicken. I guess it really wouldn't matter.
Kind of like donut operators' comparison of what a burger In-N-Out and Wendy's. That was a pretty.
Whataburger's not even red. That's not even on there.
Yeah, he poo-pooed that one pretty hard. So.
By the way, if anybody's watching or listening to this who's part of the Checkers franchise, the fact that you guys are all over Port Charlotte and you guys stop and didn't make your way down to Cape Coral and Fort Myers, shame on you. I shouldn't have to drive 28 miles to get a goddamn big Buford sandwich. You guys have quality food. If you want to open a franchise down here, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Well, they closed all the Checkers here, but then they reopened one under Rally's, which I thought was an interesting rebranding move.
You know, I don't ever. That's a good point. I never understood how a geographical location meant that you need a different name. Now, and with the exception of Odd Lots.
Well, it's Big Lots here. I think it's all Big Lots everywhere now.
That's what I was getting to. In the West Coast, it was Big Lots, but in Ohio and Kentucky, it was Odd Lots, which, you know, was funny. So they rebranded it. But yeah, so why do you need a Hardee's and a Carl's Jr.? Just make it all Hardee's or Carl's Jr. Why do you need a Checkers and a Rally's? Just make it one or the other. You'd save a lot of money. You'd save a lot of money on branding and print ad.
What are Daddy-O's still around?
No, I think Daddy-O's went the way. They were like they were like the biggest competitor. Daddy-O's was to Rally/Checkers what Crystal's is to White Castle. But I thought Daddy-O's was better.
I did too.
We had a company down here called Juicy Lucy's, which was same type of fries, same type of thing, dual drive-through only with a walk-up window. I think Juicy Lucy's was better than Checkers and Rally's, but they were like super small, and they all went under about 3 or 4 years ago.
You said Juicy Lucy. We got a place out here called the Loose Caboose.
That's what happens when you eat all hamburgers. You get a loose caboose.
Yep.
Joining us now from the Digital 410 West News Desk in Las Vegas, Nevada, Gordon Abernathy.
Gordon, how are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing good, but I'm thinking Maxine Waters. And yes, I'm actually going to touch on some national news briefly. Maxine Waters may be wanting to just like Nero with the fiddle watch Rome burn. Because
well, when you're 98, what do you got to lose, right? You've already had your time on the planet. Who cares about your grandkids? You got millions of dollars, so fuck it, right?
We got a senator from California going over to Minnesota, and basically, in my opinion, and we don't have the drop, but if you listen, going way further than Donald Trump ever did with the January 6th debacle / riots on the square, basically saying, you know, she's real close, if not going ahead and saying we're going to have violent protests if Siobhan is not committed of murder.
What's the broad's name again? I just had the whiskey's
Maxine
kicking.
Waters. So
I'm looking for the.
He said murder is the only thing that counts, and manslaughter doesn't count. Because of this, because it was closing arguments today, the defense's counsel had approached the judge and said, yeah, we may file an appeal for a mistrial. And the judge in the case, Judge Peril Cahill, said, I'll give you that the Congresswoman Waters may have given you something on appeal that may result in the whole trial being overturned.
Okay, I found it, but of course, we got to wait for the pre-roll of the advertisement. So give me 30 seconds. Yeah, this is where I'm getting. I'm going to play it off CNN, but they got their jewelry advertisement, which I'm not getting a free plug to. So give me another, I don't know, it's maybe a minute long ad. It's halfway done. So now, for those of you playing along at home, Maxine Waters was also the one who encouraged people to go out during Trump's administration and essentially verbally assault Republican congressmen and senators at restaurants if they saw them eating dinner. But keep
for a guilty verdict. We're looking for a guilty verdict, and we're looking to see if all of the talk that took place and has been taking place after they saw what happened to George Floyd, if nothing does not happen, then we know that we've got to not only stay in the street, but we've got to fight for justice. But I am very hopeful, and I hope that we're going to get a verdict that is say guilty, guilty, guilty. And if we don't, we cannot go away.
And not just manslaughter, right? I mean...
Oh, no, not manslaughter. No. This is guilty for murder. I don't know whether it's in the first degree, but as far as I'm concerned, it's first degree murder.
Congresswoman, what happens if we do not get what you just told? What should the people do? What should protesters on the street do?
I didn't hear you.
What happens?
What should protesters do?
Well, we got to stay on the street, and we've got to get more active. We've got to get more confrontational. We've got to make sure that they know that we mean business.
Now, let's think about that. More confrontational, more active. If we remember, is that more than last summer? Because last summer, it was very confrontational and active to the point where it was burning down private businesses. They were trying to burn cops alive inside of police precincts. How much further? Isn't this almost a call to inciting violence, what they tried to get Trump on?
Well, even more concerning than that. It's one thing for her to do this in her own district, in her own fucking state.
Exactly.
But when you're traveling across state lines, actually, nay, when you're hopping on a plane, flying across the country, because she's from California, which her district is a complete shithole, mind you. Which, by the way, did you hear that the one lady who was smart enough to register the name Black Lives Matter and run the thing, apparently they're getting money from China too, and she just bought like a, which, to be fair to her, $1.5 million for a house in California is not a lot of money. But she did buy it like the whitest.
Hemmed in by the people she don't.
She
like.
bought it in the whitest area in all of LA. But that's neither here nor there. But the fact that this chick is hopping on a plane, probably even a private plane, and if not, plane. No, I can't imagine her flying Southwest. So you know damn well it was on a private plane to basically be a rabble rouser in someone else's district. That is fucking scary.
Well, according to the Cahill, the judge, he says, "I wish elected officials would stop talking about this case, especially in a manner that is disrespectful to the rule of law and to the judicial
system
branch and our function. I think that if they want to give their opinions, they should do so in a respectful manner that is consistent with their oath to the Constitution, to respect the equitable branch of government. Their failure to do so, he thinks, is abhorrent, but he doesn't think this prejudice that its president will, with additional material that will that'll affect the jury." He said that a congresswoman's opinion really doesn't matter a whole lot. But my thought is if the jurors are able to see the news,
which they should be sequestered and not being able to, but that doesn't mean things won't leak to them.
So there's a chance where this whole thing is just gonna blow up, and that's not good.
Well, I had a thought, but I done lost it. What was I going to say? Well, I don't know. Anywho.
Moving on. Operator of a famous little restaurant we just talked about a little earlier, a Chick-fil-A, here in North Las Vegas, was arrested on felony animal cruelty charges.
Well, we know they don't grow their own chicken, so what did he beat up on?
On April 14th, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department says it responded to reports of shots fired at a Saxon Canyon Street in the far north part of the valley. Police say a cat was shot, killed, and left in a dumpster not far from the home. Disgusting bastard. During the investigation, police said they talked to one Carl Garcia and his adult son Logan Garcia, as well as reviewed video from the home's backyard camera. At first,
hoisted by their own petard.
Yep. At first, Carl Garcia told officers that the cat attacked one of his dogs and wouldn't leave the yard. However, after reviewing the video of the backyard, officers saw both the father and his son alone with the family's 3 dogs and a cornered cat. The arrest report said the cat was hit several times with a bat, then shot with a BB gun, and then a .22.
Oh, that's what I was going to say, not to take away from your animal cruelty charges. Don't be fooled. People who make their living off of trying to end racism, how quickly do you think they're going to allow their career to go away? There will always be, in their eyes and in the media's eyes, basically in the eyes of anybody who makes money talking about racism and how it's over the place, they will never stop talking about it because then they will be out of jobs. So when their core funding comes from quote unquote fighting racism, racism will always be around until those people lose their jobs. So people like her, they'll always have something to talk about because they need something to talk about because that's where they get their money. It's insane.
Well, Carl Garcia was arrested on a felony charges of willful, malicious torture or killing of a cat, animal, or 5 counts of discharging a gun where others might be endangered, conspiracy to kill, maim, disfigured, poison animal of another, and destroy and conceal evidence. And the son was arrested on very similar charges.
What a douche
So I hope
bagel.
they throw not just a book, but every book in the whole Reagan library at them. Why did I say Reagan library? Because it just seems like it would have a lot of books.
Yeah.
Something else in Las Vegas that's going to be popping up, and it's Bitcoin ATMs.
We have one here on at the BP gas station on Del Prado. Actually, one of the things we do at Computers, that's right, Computers has been bringing IT solutions for all of Southwest Florida since 2004. If you need any work on your computers, networks, etc., video cameras, give them a call at 239-283-1120. They can also help you with two-form authentication, online backups, antivirus, etc. Give them a call at 239-283-1120. And even if you don't live in Southwest Florida, they can help you remotely. They can, with your assistance, through their website, log in your computer and handle all your problems. Give them a call at 239-283-1120. But one of the things we do from time to time, when we have an opening in our schedule, we'll do what's called a national account jobs. And these are big companies who provide managed services for corporations from different states, but then whenever they need boots on the ground, they'll put out a work order. Basically, they'll hire people local to go do the work. And I've looked at, but I haven't gone as far as requesting a job, where basically you go out, your job is to uncrate the Bitcoin ATM machine, bring a hammer drill holes into the concrete, put the piece of all thread in there, cut it off, put the ATM on the all thread, bolt it down, make sure it has internet connection, fire it up, then call the tech support company who then remote into it, make sure everything was working. And there's been 4 or 5 of them around Southwest Florida being installed throughout the area. So they're popping up.
Use all thread.
So
Not a drop-in anchor with
it could be drop-in anchor. Once again, I haven't done the job. I've just read the scope of work real quick. But basically to bolt it to the floor.
Anyway, the concept is simple. It's similar to your regular ATM, right? Except you exchange cryptocurrency like Bitcoin for dollars, and you could go the other direction. According to Chris McAllery, the founder of Las Vegas-based Coin Cloud, the concept is, his business is the world's largest network of two-way digital currency kiosk with over 2,000 worldwide, including 16 here in the Vegas Valley. But in the next few months, he's expecting everything to just grow by thousands. He's expecting to go roughly 2,000 a day to 10,000 by the end of the year.
What's the cryptocurrency that Elon Musk is artificially inflating?
Dogecoin?
I was just at a party the other night where someone was proudly announcing that they just dropped $500 to buy 1,300 shares of it. I think at the time it was 32 cents a share, but now it's like down to 21 cents. But I don't know. I mean, of course, you have the success stories of the people who got in it early and sold at the right time, who made a couple grand or even $1 million. But do you feel like he's artificially inflating it by tweeting about it?
It's marketing, right?
I guess
that's how you get things to grow as you market. And,
I guess the question is, do you feel confident enough that you would drop $500 on it?
Yeah, let's see how it plays out in the next month,
Yeah, but by then it could be up. It could be up $1.50 a share or more.
I think one of our listeners actually has bought into the Dogecoin.
Really?
But seen some posts.
Nice.
Be very interesting to see. But one of the big reasons for Vegas is because the international tourism, of course, which is coming back. EDC is actually scheduled to happen. It's been turned down by the state for their plan, but by the time it goes on, it should be pushed down to the county level anyway, because as of May 1st, the counties will be responsible. And then hopefully June 1st, everything will be back. But this would be the biggest gathering in Las Vegas Valley in well over a year, with over 200,000 people up at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway for a few nights of EDC music and all the shenanigans that go along with it.
This particular person bought it through Robinhood and was very proud of that.
Robinhood was in some trouble too.
Well, I was like, Robinhood, I said, isn't that the one who was selling people's GameStop stocks without their permission?
Well, they inflated it. It was insane.
I know, but then they turned around and they were selling it off so they could, because of the whole debacle. But they weren't.
The debacle was they stopped allowing people to buy it.
Not only
or
did they
sell
stopped
it,
allowing to
or-
buy it, but they turned around and start selling it off from their users without asking them.
Oh wow, I didn't see that part.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. And then one real quick one out of Burlington, Vermont on the AP.
Burlington Coat Factory, they are more than great coats.
Vermont's largest city is banning something that a lot of us, especially out on the West Coast, find as problematic.
Print pornography?
No, banning the use of loud gas-powered leaf blowers. The city council passed a phased-in ban this week. The Burlington Free Press reported it mandates moving to quieter electric-powered leaf blowers, which will be required for all municipal departments in August. All businesses and Burlington residents will be required to comply by the end of May 2022. Gas-powered blowers operate at about 90 decibels and can cause hearing damage after 2 hours of exposure, according to the United Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Yes, evidently they are into like listening to leaf blowers too, not just diseases. And the gas engine contributes to air pollution in residential neighborhoods. I don't disagree with that.
Are they presenting an alternative?
Electric. I'm sure with battery technology, you could get a.
Well, I was going to say, if they're trying to outlaw leaf blowers altogether.
Nope, they're going to restrict the noise of electric leaf blowers to 65 decibels.
No, I just had a thought, though. If they were, I think because like California, technically they're illegal, but because of the people who use them, they don't want to go after them.
Right.
But I was laughing. Have you ever been to a mechanic shop and see the tire blasters? It's basically a tank with a nozzle on it so they can go and try to inflate a tire on a rim or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you have these environmental laws, you get the rednecks, right? I'm rolling coal, and they're just doing it to piss off the Prius drivers and the environmentalists.
100%.
So you live in a town where they're outlawing leaf blowers altogether. I can just see those guys going on Amazon and buying those fucking tanks, filling them up, and going out and to blow their leaves around, going back in and filling them back up. It would serve no purpose other than I'm going to do what I want to do. It's just so... They always do that shit. I could see those things would be flying off the shelves. Everybody would be buying those in like 100-pound pancake air compressors to fill those damn things up. Or even trying to get T-shirt cannons and like retrofitting the front of those things to be like leaf blowers and filling those up. Just a thought.
It's a good one. Interesting. That's all I've got for the news this evening.
That's all he's got for the news. That means I gotta hit this button right here.
This concludes the evening news, and now back to the ACT Computer Studio in Cape Coral, Florida.
Thank you, Gordon, and I think that is going to about wrap it up for this episode of the What's in Your Head podcast. And as I said before, head over to d-410.com and please click on that orange Patreon link. And if you're doing it from your smartphone or mobile device, scroll down to the bottom, click on the orange Patreon link, sign up. It's $1 a month. And Gordon, we have been very lax and reluctant and slacking in our duties to get an OG5 podcast up. We need to get one of those done. I have a World War II reenactment this weekend, so I probably won't be able to get one done there, or maybe I'll record one there.
Weekend.
But we've got to
pencil it in.
We got to get some quality content up there. And if you also head over to d-410.com, you can find links to all of our social media pages as well as email us. We want to hear from you. Thoughts, suggestions, tell us to fuck off. Whatever you want to tell us. Email us at info@d-410.com and all that good stuff. Tell us what you have to say. And if you go to d-410.com, there's a page that says social media that'll take you to our Facebook, TikTok, Twitter accounts, YouTube, Patreon, and my Venmo page. And by the way, shout out to YouTube. We definitely have a larger audience on YouTube than we do YouTube. But not to sleep on YouTube, we just hit 401 subscribers on YouTube. So we're getting close to that 1,000 marker. But as it always happens, whenever we get close to accomplishing something on social media, they always move the goalpost. So if you want to help us get to that 1,000-yard line before they move the goalposts, head over to d-410.com, click on that social media link, and go like, subscribe, and share us with your friend on YouTube. And you can see my recent post of my Savage Anywhere races where I'm kicking my own ass, doing ridiculous exercises, as well as rucking. For those of you who don't know what rucking is, that's when you put a weighted vest on, like a carrier plate with weights on it, and you go out and run lots of miles, and it sucks. And so I did that. But anyhow, on behalf of Gordon Abernathy, Michael Harris, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to have you on again, my friend, and might even do a OG5 podcast with you, or I might have him on Fail to Fail because he's got a lot to talk about, and I think he'd be good for a long-form interview, do like an hour and a half with him on Fail to Fail podcast, or maybe even What's the Scuttlebutt podcast, since he is a veteran, and him and Jeff would get along quite well. But thank you guys so much. For Gordon, myself, and Michael, we will talk to you guys next week.
This has been a Digital Fourten production.